Hi everyone, I'm Karen MacNeil, and this is WineSpeed.com's People to Know, insider interviews with the most important and fascinating people in the wine business. And today I have the great pleasure of interviewing Barbara Banke. Barbara, thank you for being here. Barbara is, I think it's safe to say, a trailblazer in the wine industry. She co-founded Kendall-Jackson in 1982 with her late husband, Jess Jackson. And from that single winery spawned an empire, really, that now consists of over 40 wineries around the world. She's a graduate of UCLA and Hastings Law School in San Francisco and a former land use and constitutional law attorney. So, Barbara, you have always taken on a real hands-on approach to managing your wineries, and for a very large company, that's surprising. Why is that important to you?
I think it's important to know what people do and know how they do it, so you know if they are really skilled and have expertise at their job. But I don't do winemaking because I'm not a winemaker, but I hire very, very talented people. So I want to make sure that I know enough to be dangerous.
I am sure you do. You've been really ahead of the curve in expanding Jackson family wines. We've got wineries in South Africa, in Australia, well-known wineries now in the Willamette Valley, in England. I'm a great lover of English sparkling wine. And so I wonder what you attribute your ability to recognize areas that can produce great wine.
That is one of my only skills, is the ability to assess property and to look at climate patterns and what other people are doing. Oregon, for example, has so many wonderful wines. When we moved into Cowichan Valley, there were some great wines coming out of there. So it's not that I'm not the first, but I can recognize where the quality will be. And that's the thing that drives me to increase our holdings, is to find a place that can make world-class wine.
How did you develop your palate?
Through a lot of experimentation. I was a law student. What do you think law students do? They taste wine. Yeah.
That's the secret, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
When you began Kendall-Jackson, I'm just thinking that the whole landscape of the culture of wine in America was very different then. And of course, there was no Kendall-Jackson before Kendall-Jackson. You and Jess created that. What was the toughest part of those early years?
Solvency was tough because we were growing so fast that it took a lot of capital, which we didn't have. But we managed to make do and come through that period. It was quite exciting, but it's always challenging too to get good distribution and sales. Once Jess really started it. He planted the first vineyard in 1974 up in Lake County and started buying grapes from vineyards up and down the state. So I came into the picture in about 1983, and by then there was a brand and a vintage of Kendall-Jackson. And from then on, we just took it and it started to grow. So a lot of it was luck and quality mixed together, and it was serendipitous.
Well, it certainly galvanized wine drinkers in America at a certain important point in time.
Yes, I think the price and the quality was something that appealed to most people. And it was something that was a wine that was very popular. There weren't that many Chardonnays. There were some small producers. There really wasn't anything that was produced on a larger scale that was of quality.
Yeah. People forget that, even by the late 1960s, there were only about 300 acres of Chardonnay in the whole state. So you were in the immediate decades after that, where Chardonnay was still not a widespread grape, I agree. What has it been like being a leading woman in what was, at least historically, essentially a man's business.
Yeah, it's been fun. We've always had women in our business. One of our first winemakers was Signa Bengard, then Signa Zoller, who was our first winemaker at Cambria. And I mean, great women winemakers like Selma Long in the business. So there have been women and owners. I haven't seen that movie yet about La Grande Dame, but I'm looking forward to seeing that. And there have always been women in this business. It's something that I think women appreciate wine, and it's a fun business.
Mm. Yeah. Well, it's a tough business, though.
Not as bad as law.
Okay, you have me there.
Compared to law, it's really a picnic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackson Family Wines is well known for its strong belief in sustainability. I think what separates you, though, is you really walk that walk. You were a co-founder with Torres of the International Wineries for Climate Action, and you make it a point to make sure that sustainability and caring for the environment is sort of at the forefront of each of your brands. Where did that love, that passion for the environment come from?
Well, we're a family business. We're in it for the long term. It's not something, this business is not something that you can really do on a short-term basis. So you're always looking 10 years out. And of course you want the lands to be as good when you leave them as when you found them. So for future generations, we wanted to preserve our assets, and it's definitely the right thing to do. My children have brought all kinds of interesting ideas about regenerative farming and sustainability forward. And Katie, my oldest daughter, is really quite active. She's the one that is most active in the International Wineries for Climate Action. And her husband, Sean, has helped with regenerative farming with all different things like sheep and goats and other methods to really keep the land in good shape and there for the next generations.
Mm. It is. You have to really feel it, though. I think if you, and that's why I almost reluctantly use the word sustainability, because it seems like everybody just throws that term out there without necessarily taking the from the smallest to the largest actions that show that they care for the environment.
Yes, although I think this is a pretty green industry if you look at it. There are a lot of people that are doing their best to farm sustainably, and everything from biodynamic to organic to other regenerative practices. Certainly, as I said, my kids, my daughter Julia, that's essentially her life. She founded something called Grounded, which is a think tank to foster solutions to climate problems. And she's heavily invested in ocean conservation and Amazon conservation. So she brings all of that ethos to our company, and the rest of us believe in it too. So we forge along and try and make improvements as we go along.
What character trait do you think you owe your success to?
I'd say stubbornness and nerves of steel, both of which have been very useful, and a good sense of humor.
Were you always stubborn?
Yes. Yes. Ask my siblings. Yes.
Aha. Okay. And finally, what would most people be surprised to learn about you?
I can't imagine. Everyone seems to know almost everything about me. Some of my favorite activities during the evening are sitting around with my dogs and watching TV. So I'm I'm less social than you think. I enjoy the social scene. I enjoy the wine, but I like time to myself too.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Barbara. We appreciate that. Thank you. And if you'd like to read the rest of the interview with Barbara Banke, you'll find it on winespeed.com.